Our meeting. Call the meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Today is April the 4th, 2017. If you would, please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We usually start our meeting asking everyone to shut off their cell phones, but I thought our meeting was so short before we went into executive session, it wasn't necessary. But that's okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to enter an executive session. We will reconvene back into open session for the purpose of conducting a strategy session for collective bargaining, specifically the clerical union, and to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, specifically Krugger versus the town of West Bridgewater. Since in my opinion as chair, strategizing in open session will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town of West Bridgewater, requiring a roll call vote.
Maria, yes.
Kinahan, yes.
Lawrence, yes. We are in executive session. We will reconvene shortly when we will come out in the hall and allow you to know we're back. Good evening and welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen meeting of Wednesday, April 4th, 2018. For those of us in the audience, just to remind you, tonight's meeting is being broadcast on local access. May be shown in whole or in part on the internet, specifically YouTube, and any other avenue that they wish to show it. Just giving you a fair warning. Okay, moving on the agenda. First item is a public hearing for the Samoset Rod and Gun Club, change of manager, alteration of premises. Tracy? Oh, sorry, Selectman Barrera has...
Yes, I'm the chairman of the board over there, and I'd like to abstain from discussion and voting on this issue.
Thank you, Ellen.
Well, I don't want to get any conflict with this.
Tracy?
Okay, so there's, the application before you has two components to it.
Excuse me 1 second. Can you open the hearing?
Oh, yeah, I gotta read
Motion to
the...
open the hearing.
Do I have a...
Yep.
I don't see, oh, here it is. Okay, pursuant to Chapter 138 of Chapter 140 of the Massachusetts General Laws, a public hearing will be held Wednesday, April 4th, 2018, 7 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall, 65 North Main Street, West Bridgewater, on the application of change of manager and alteration of licensed premises by the Samoset Rod and Gun Club, 350 Matfield Street, West Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Interested parties are invited to attend the public hearing. Selectman Jerry Lawrence, Chairman. Okay, motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, sorry, Tracy, now to you.
Okay, so, there's two components to the application before you. One is for a change of manager and the other is for an alteration of premise. The change of manager is just due to the current manager stepping down, and the alteration of premise is, basically just to use the space outdoors that they were already using, but, allow them to serve alcohol. They arranged it for the Board of Appeals and received a special permit back in October with the caveat that they put fencing up, which has been done. All of their paperwork is in order, and the liquor agent, Chris Werner, recommended it be approved.
Okay. Representative of the club want to speak?
I speak, like I said, we've complied with everything that we were asked to do here in regards to the permitting here. Anybody has any questions, I'll feel free to answer any questions
This would-
anybody wants to ask.
This would just allow them to bring alcohol out onto the patio, but not necessarily a bar outdoors? Or is it both?
To serve.
Okay. All right. Anthony, you have any questions?
No?
Everyone in the public, all the abutters should have received their abutter notifications. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to ask questions or speak? Yes, sir. Just for the record, your name, please, and
I'm
address.
Dan Peralta. I live across the street at 357 Matfield Street. That property, the fence is literally less than 100 feet from my property. I don't think they should be able to serve alcohol outside. They've been great neighbors for 20 years that I've lived there, but they're going to be noise. Summertime's coming, windows are going to be open, they're going to be out there partying. It's supposed to be a rod and gun club, a sportsman club, not a social gathering point. This isn't not in the middle of nowhere, like a KFC, where they have these type of things, where they have an outdoor bar set up. This is nothing more than a social place. They want to be able to gather there Friday nights, have their pizza, have a beer, and go outside and play games and drink. And they're going to be loud, because they've been doing it all along without having the permits to be out there.
Tracy, what are the hours?
Their current hours, I believe it's until midnight. It's Sunday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m.
This is a residential neighborhood. This is not a commercial area down on Main Street.
Any other neighbors want to speak? Or anybody in the public want to speak?
I'm having a little trouble hearing. What are the hours that you're proposing?
It's their current hours. It's 10 a.m. to 12 a.m.
So it's midnight,
to midnight.
You mean 12?
PM.
Okay. so-
No, 12
Yeah,
a.m.
That's a little late. I'm in a butter as well, and I've had absolutely no trouble with the club in the time I've been here, in over 30 years. And I do have some concerns about the noise levels. But other than that, there's been no issues with the club.
Why the sudden need to be able to serve alcohol outdoors?
We have a nice facility outside. We have a bocce court. We have picnic tables. We have an outdoor picnic area that's been there from the existence of the club. Horseshoe pits. We have a nice area to go out and relax and use the property.
It's always been used during their special functions, not to be used year-round.
My name is Nils Anderson. I am the president of Samoset Rotary Club. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to being able to use that. A couple of years ago, I went to open heart surgery. I can't play my contact sports, whatnot, but to socially be able to go out and have a beverage, play horseshoes, play bocce. People in the neighborhood, like you said, you haven't had a problem with this. Our noise level, we definitely get that stuff, because even with our permits, as you know, that stuff gets turned down quickly. Making an enemy of a neighbor does us no good, does no good to anybody else. Definitely like working together with people, but just would like to be able to use the facilities that we have to enjoy it. We have sportsmen, we hunt, we fish, we'll take kayak runs, we'll come back. It's nice to be able to sit outside, fire up a few burgers, have a beverage, and not worry about violating any laws, any rules. Just, it prevents me from having to be a policeman to make sure that somebody doesn't. If I have a new member that goes outside, I gotta chase him down and say, hey, listen, you can't do that. We have signs. Other places around do the same facility, the same type of thing that we do.
And
So
those
just
facilities,
looking to,
are they located in the middle of a residential neighborhood?
there's
You
different
put the
places that-
lowest cost fence you could. You put a 4-foot chain link fence that will offer no soundproofing. You put lights up so you can have lights, so you can be out there until midnight.
The lights that are there are existing. There's nothing that we've added on the light.
I mean, to me, it would make more sense if it were just day hours, if it's to use an outdoor patio and cookout area. Again, you are in the middle of a residential area. It's, surrounded by homes and a subdivision. Yes, Mike?
Can I speak from it?
Absolutely.
We pulled 5 permits last year. We had no problems with the permits that we pulled last year. All our outdoor permits were, I believe, I'd have to look, were good to either 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We never went beyond that period of time frame. We had never once had any complaints filed against us for any noise.
But this is till midnight, right?
I have no intention to allow people outside till midnight.
So
Out there playing
why
noise.
wouldn't we consider like an 8 o'clock, 8 PM
Because
maximum?
some of the functions in there, the barbecues and all that stuff like that, we don't normally start them till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because other things like the crew run takes place during the day, for example. We don't get back there till 3 or 4 in the afternoon, or 2 or 3, depending on how long of a run that we're gonna do. And that party would go to at least 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I will assure you, the board, I will assure Mr. Peralt that nobody at midnight is out there playing horseshoes. Nobody after 11 o'clock is clanging horseshoes or playing a radio out there. Like I said, we had 5 other permits last year. Nobody, not one person came in to complain about it. And we've been very respectful to our neighbors.
Tracy, what was the extent of the permits? Do you recall? Was it 9 PM?
The one that I'm aware of, the most recent site special permit that they received in October, did not have any hour specifications on it.
I agree with the neighbors, I think, to give a midnight outdoor party area in a residential area might be a little bit much. I think a 9 o'clock might be a reasonable compromise. If in fact you find out it's not a problem, and the neighbors find out it's not a problem, and you abide by the 9 o'clock and there's no issues, there's nothing to say you couldn't come back and request an extension. Just my opinion, especially if you're saying they don't go past 9 anyways. I think it would be a good compromise for the neighbors.
Most of the parties in that club, we end between 10:30 and 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
That way, everybody's done and out of the club by the time our liquor license expires at midnight.
Most of the parties are inside the club, not outside.
That is correct, sir.
So you're extending it to outside, which you can't. How do I know what the noise is gonna be like if you know they don't have a party that's outside? You've had parties out there and I've been very tolerant with them, because I understand it's a social gathering point.
If you
But
haven't,
I have young kids and I shouldn't have to worry if my windows are open and can they go to sleep?
I know there's more than just the two of you, butters. Would a Friday and Saturday 9 PM be appropriate as a starting point or a trial basis?
It'd be a trial basis. I'm totally opposed to it personally. I don't think they need to be outside.
I have an objection for it just being a Friday, Saturday type of thing. I have an objection, the purpose of changing the premises here. We have other events that happen, like Memorial Day and other parties that do not follow those weekend dates. And the whole premise of it is somebody who's outside having a cigarette outside the building, because we don't allow smoking in there, can be in that patio area and have an alcoholic beverage.
Again, we are an older crowd, you know.
But you also rent out the halls to others that aren't necessarily
Not
members.
allowed, that area is not allowed for that.
That's
Strictly-
not gonna happen.
That would be, absolutely, it's already being written out. That is strictly for the members to use. I have no desire to police that, I have no desire to worry about who I don't know that's out there. So that's an absolute.
We have no intent to let outside organizations hold parties there and use that facility. That facility is for members and members only.
I'd agree with you. I think 9's a reasonable compromise for now. If you have a couple functions a year that you want to take past that time, then come in, see Tracy and...
My issue is here, Mr. Lawrence had said that Friday and Saturday. We have other events that take place during the week, such as Memorial Day and other parties that don't fall on a weekend. And I'd like that to be included. And the fact that people go out and smoke here, I can tell they can go out and smoke Friday and Saturday, but they can't Monday through Friday.
Well, how about just a,
Yeah, I'd have no issue with 9 o'clock during the week. I think 9 o'clock's reasonable.
Tracy, is there a way we could do this for a 6-month trial period? If there's no issues, then it's extended to a regular license?
Meaning just extending the hours after 6 months?
Meaning yes, for right now, we would give a 6-month 9 PM maximum out with the outdoors. If there's no problems, complaints, issues within that 6 months, then it becomes permanent.
It would just, the process would have to occur again?
But we'd have to have another hearing,
Correct.
unless we give a temporary license and continue the hearing in 6 months. Am I stretching things too much? Yeah, okay. Again, to revoke a license is a major process. And it's also a negative mark against the organization, so I don't want to even give us that avenue. But I would like to make sure it happens, that it works for the neighbors and the members in the association.
Both their liquor license, I'm just saying I don't think they should be able to serve drinks outside.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is if there's too many complaints and it becomes a problem, then it's a whole different type of hearing that would be derogatory, and we don't
First
want
of all,
that.
the upstairs bar isn't even open during the week. It's only the downstairs bar open. So you're gonna be people coming up and downstairs to get outside? Who's policing?
Fortunately, I'm not familiar with the facility. It's been years since I've been there.
Yeah,
There are 2 points of access. You can
It's
be-
2 separate bars.
That is correct, sir. There's a downstairs members bar only.
But it's one license.
That bar is the only one that's open during the week to everybody.
That's correct, with the exception of Tuesday where they have dart league. When they have darts in there on Tuesdays, there's an upstairs bartender. Or a function.
When's renewals are in January?
Yeah, expirations at the end of December.
Okay, but the hours could be altered during the renewal period without a public hearing?
The hours could be changed, yes.
Okay, I'm going to suggest we do a 9 PM, and it can be revisited, specifically this license revisited at the time of renewal. I'll second. Is there any further discussion, questions, concerns? Yes, sir. Just your name and address for the record, and then,
Alan Braddock, 390 Matfield. I was just curious, is there a difference between being able to take your beverage outside or to actually have a outside bar set up and serve outside?
I think the board has the right to put any type of restrictions on the
Yeah.
license we wish.
We have no intention to set a bar outside.
Oh, all right, so
You
this
know,
is just,
purchase
this is
from the
just so
inside
people
bar.
from
If you wanna
inside can go
outside,
out
sit
with a
there at the
drink?
picnic table, or use the grill or the fireplace,
Yeah.
but you can sit out there with a beverage that you purpose inside for the bar. There's not gonna be a big bar set up outside, a tiki hut, any of that type of stuff.
If Mike, it seems like Mike would be happy, we'll put that restriction right on there, that there'll be no outside sales.
We're
It
not
want
gonna
to be
set up
carry
a-
out from the
Yeah, I
inside.
was just wanted.
That way
to
it
be
gives
clear
you
on
guys
that,
some
that's all.
reassurance.
I was curious.
Can we
if there was a
amend that?
difference.
Gives us the ability to police.
Anthony makes a motion to amend it, I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody. Oh, yes.
Just want to make sure, so, the vote would be for the alteration of premise and for the change of manager?
Correct. I'm sorry, yep. All right, entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. You're welcome to leave if you wish.
Thank you very much.
One other question, when will that be in effect, or when, how long does it take till I hear?
After this, it will go off to the ABCC. It's typically an atypical process, so we'll just basically have to notify you when we hear back from the ABCC. It could be in a week or two, or it
Okay.
might take a
All
little.
right, so I'll touch base with you, Chief.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Thank you for your service all the years here.
How are you? How are you?
Mr. Kennedy, all
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Take care.
Seen you.
Please forgive me, of course you can. Sorry about that.
Can't make them all happy all the time. You'll see.
One of those guys slamming the door.
Would you say that's you?
I said, that might be me slamming the door.
Yeah, that reminds me, I'm sorry, I always start out our meeting introducing the candidates that are present at the meeting. Tonight, we have with us Denise Reyes and Neil Connolly, both candidates for the position for selectman. The election's on April 14th. I hope everybody will show up and vote. Okay, firefighter appointment. Can someone let the chief know? Cam, can you let the chief know to bring everyone in? Yeah, you gotta get him in before the office term ends. I don't have any names on my sheet, so. Oh, yes, I do. Justin. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. Firefighters, we welcome you all. Chief, welcome. All right, next on the agenda is the appointment of two new members of our fire department. And for that, I am going to turn it over to our town clerk. Annie?
Justin, you're up first. Okay. You ready? So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Justin Donna,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all my duties incumbent on me
perform all my duties incumbent on me
as a firefighter EMT paramedic
as a firefighter EMT paramedic
for the town of West Bridgewater
for the town of West Bridgewater
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the town of West Bridgewater
in the town of West Bridgewater
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we have Michael. Okay, raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Mike Debley,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I faithfully and impartially
perform all the duties incumbent on me
perform all the duties incumbent on me
as a firefighter EMT
as a firefighter EMT
for the town of West
of
Bridgewater
the town of West Bridgewater
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the town of West Bridgewater
and the town of West Bridgewater
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you.
You
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Chief, good seeing you. I said thank you, Chief. Thank you, Annie.
Oh, thank you.
You're free to go. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for all coming in.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna steal this chair. Thank you. So,
How you doing?
Okay, are the library trustees here?
Some freshmen, I don't know, can't speak for them.
Can you see if Ellen and the library trustees are up there? While we're waiting for that, why don't we move on? Let's see. Town report dedication?
Yes, so last meeting, we were presented with a list of resident deaths in 2017, and you requested that I speak with the treasurer and determine if there were any employees. And there were, there's a memo in the packet for you. Howard Anderson was a former police chief. Thomas Hunt was a former fireman. Muriel Goucher was a former council on aging employee, and Ruth Perkins was a former school cafeteria employee.
Who's the first one, I'm sorry?
Howard Anderson?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see if we could dedicate the annual town report to Chief Anderson with a memorial to the remaining names. And request a family photo. I think our police historian is here, so he could probably provide us with a photo of the Chief Anderson. And that would be the motion I'm asking for.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we have with us the library trustees. Just for the record, if everyone could introduce themselves. This is a joint meeting. It's pertaining to me, so I think I'll let Anthony run this portion of the meeting.
All right, so we had a resignation to the Board of Library Trustees. Jerry has asked to join, and it takes a joint vote of the Board of Selectmen and the existing Board of Library Trustees. So, Jerry, I'll ask you, why do you want to be on the Library Trustees?
Well, I've had the great honor of working with Ellen. I'm currently the president of the Friends of the Library, and I think the library has come leaps and bounds and really has done great things under the leadership of our new director, Ellen. And in my retirement for this position, I think it would be a good transition, wean myself off a little bit, but I think it would be a great alternative location for my services.
Alden, do you have any?
No, I have no questions of him. I think Gary will be a good choice of affiliation for the library.
I agree. All right, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Jerry Lawrence to the, sorry, David, did I miss?
Nope, that's okay. And just, state law is when you have a joint meeting, it does require a roll call vote by every member.
If you would, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Anthony's running the meeting.
All right, so we have a motion, Alden? for-
Yeah,
All right.
Aurora, yes.
Deborah Lancaster, yes.
Scott Ames, yes.
Marion Good, yes. Christine Roberts.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Jody said.
Oh, David Church, yes.
And Anthony Kinahan, yes. Congratulations, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yay!
Before our library trustees leave, soon I'll be joining you once I get sworn in. Fanny's still here, I could do it now. But I would, I have a small presentation. As you may or may not be aware, tonight's my last night. And one of the things I've asked that we do is recognize our longtime employees, volunteers, and especially elected officials. Personally knowing how much effort and time we put into our positions, often thankless, but quite often very personally rewarding. As part of that, when someone becomes elected in town, they're now going to receive a commemorative pin marking the celebration of their service to the town. And I had asked that the town administrator put this on the agenda tonight so I can present the very first pins, not only to my current board here as the Board of Selectmen, but to the elected members of the library trustees that I'll be joining soon. April 14th will be my final position as selectman, when I will transition tonight, I guess, will be official on the library trustees. But as our most senior serving member of the Board of Selectmen, Eldon, it gives me great pleasure to present you with the first West Bridgewater service pin. It has the West Bridgewater town seal surrounded with our town color, maroon and white. And Eldon, it gives me great pleasure to present this to you.
Thank you very much for the honor. Appreciate it very much.
Hasn't been very long, but I've really gotten to know Anthony over the last couple of years, and I'm happy you were on the board to serve with me. It's been a great pleasure, and I want to present you with your service pin. If the chairman of the library trustees, David Church, could come forward, I'd like to present you with your pin. I've already been told that ties and suits are not allowed at the library trustee meetings. I'm not sure why he says that. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
I introduced all the candidates running for selectmen that were present at the beginning of the meeting. The third candidate is now present with us as the vice chairman of the library trustees. Deborah, I'd like to present you with your pin. Mary Ann, good? At my library trustee meeting I went, there's nothing more I like to hear than compliments about my kids, followed by my town. And I'll tell you, I'm very, very proud of my kids, and I hear great things about them all over the place. But at the last meeting, I heard some great compliments on my kids. They're always there for other kids. And Maureen was nice enough to pass those on to me.
I was a lunch lady.
Scott Ames, a family with a long history in the town of West Bridgewater, and great service, Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And our next member of the library trustees I've known since she was my drama director in high school. I know it's Christine Roberts now, but it'll be always Christine Freitas to me. So Christine,
You're alive.
no family with a long history in town. Thank you.
You learn something new every day.
Thank you, everyone. And going forward, our currently elected and future elected members will receive their membership pin, their service pin. And if the board would be so grateful to allow me to pin our next selectman, that would be a great honor if I could return to the first meeting with the new board member. I'd like that honor if you would bestow it upon me.
I'll do it if you finish pinning the rest of the elected officials. We have state rep, state senator, and school committee member.
Oh, okay, come on in. I don't know if I have enough pins ready for everybody. Oh, Annie's here too.
And Chris is here too.
Everybody's here.
You might have to go get some more pins. Well, I'll do our tree warden first. Come on up, Chris.
All right.
Probably our longest serving elected official next to Eldon. Thank you. We'll bring up the woman that first, our first woman of the forestry department, and now our town clerk, who's been doing a wonderful job. Andy, come on up. This wasn't planned, thanks, Anthony. Thank you very much. I see our state rep and our state senator are both here, if you want to come up.
Thank you.
Just so you both know, these pins will only be exclusively distributed to elected officials. that serve our town. So-
I'm honored.
Hey, can someone send Donald in? See Trump coming? No? Later.
Can you just push back a
I'd be
minute so
happy
we can
to.
get the picture?
I'd be happy to.
This is such a great idea. Thank you.
And according to Eldon, this is the man that gets the lights put on.
He really does.
So when it gets coming sound, you're gonna get fined if you don't have that pin on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry.
Who else do we have? Any other elected officials? Oh, Colleen, yes, serving our Southeastern School Committee. Colleen? If you don't know Colleen, she's the daughter of my favorite past select woman, Nancy Maloney. And Colleen, thanks for your service. We'll be very careful here. Thank you. Oh, Jim, come on up. Jim Holden is also a candidate for selectman, but Jim has not only a longtime member of the West Bridgewater Lions Club, but served many, many years on the school committee. Jim, I don't want to stick.
Go ahead, pin me. Don't make it bleed.
I've had the honor of serving with Jim for many, many years as a Lion, and I wish you good luck.
Same to you. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you much. Well, thank you, Anthony, for putting me on the spot there. And I will return to pin our new select person. Wesley, you already got a pin. Or she, because two of you already got them.
Oh, you only get one pin?
You only get one, sorry. These are very exclusive. All right. Moving, the library trustees, you are welcome to leave if you wish. We're going to move on to our budget presentations.
Thank you.
So, Jerry, before that, I'd like to say a few things while we have our reps here.
Sure, Ellen, yep.
Wayne Michelle is here, and our state senator is here, and both great people. As I sat out there last night and listened to the candidates night, you know, it's sort of a learning experience of things that we've done. I'd like to kind of mention the fact is, and of course, I'll always remember Walter Timothy there when before I got home, the lights went on there. So whether it happened by coincidence or anything else, but I just kind of appreciate. But things really came out last night that we do have to have some work on. The Chapter 70 funds. This was talked over there at the candidates night. Now we seem to be, according to our representative on the school committee, we're getting the lowest funds of anybody. No, is there any way we can get a hold of that formula and see where we stand on that, and let us know, are we getting a fair shake or not? Because we certainly can use them funds under Chapter 70, okay? And I just like, I'm facing you both, try to get us some information on that, and you know, we will appreciate it. And of course, I know that this time of year there we have the bond bill, and we've got to get back to this when I get with a new board and exactly the things. A lot was talked about sidewalks and that type of thing, which we've been working on for a few years. And I kind of realized, and I'm on that committee up in Brockton, they have the TIP committee, and where a lot of this stuff was decided. But the board's going to have to decide which way and where these things are going to go, and if we can get any help in that kind of direction there, we'd appreciate it. And of course, our traffic lights there. I mean, we have issues out there. We have the one down here at East Street and East Center Street, and probably need some help along that way. The town has come up with money to do the engineering, and they say if we participate in that, it makes it kind of shorter that as long as the town is putting some of their money in, and then we can move things along. I just see a lot of things. One of the things that comes up every single candidate tonight, I'm gonna bring up before you, and I'll tell you right now, I have worked tirelessly. In fact, I had the money from, I think it was the federal government that year, the housing. Now, people out there are saying, we need more elderly housing. You got one board to go after, and that's the housing board. I will bring them personally in, and I'll make the motion when the new board is, to bring them in. They said there was no need of it. Now, we have a plot of land over in Belmont, so it's just sitting there. If they're not gonna use that over there, either give it to the water department or do something with the thing. It's been sitting there for years. But as I have people come to me and they say, well, there's no waiting list and all that. This is strictly with the housing board. I mean, we can wish all we want. We can go up there and say these candidates, we're gonna bring more housing in there. But let's go after where the decisions are made by that housing board and their elected officials. I mean, if they're not gonna do their job over there, let's get rid of them. I mean, come on. This is what we gotta do. You know, we've gotta be more positive in the direction we're doing, and, you know, I'm a driving force anyhow. I just keep going. You know, and I don't like people saying no, maybe. I mean, get some answers. Maybe I don't always get the right answers back, but, you know, I just keep trying and try to energize this board, okay? And the last thing, Denise and Ray's their comments she made last night there about me not texting. Well, one of the reasons why, we did have a problem with texting there. You know, I've been on these boards, okay? You hear about the open meeting law? A lot of times they were texting behind, you know, one selectman was texting that. We cannot violate the open meeting law. And believe me, I don't use that along the street there and cause accidents either. So that's kind of the reason though.
It was
So-
all in jest, Alvin. All in jest.
So really, I can text, but I don't. In fact, you see the phone that the town gives me, this is probably the cheapest phone you can get, okay? You don't text on this phone, you know what I mean? I don't really know, there's probably other things, but these are some of the things that appeared. I don't know if I forgot anything over there. But you know, it was a great candidate, and it brought out some of the facts. But this has got to be a family goal. Now, our rep and our senators here, and we got to communicate with them and tell them what we want, what we need, and hoping that they can come through for us.
Well, I couldn't have said that better myself, Eldon. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Okay, well, the only thing is, there we are, and I want to thank you for being here, and enjoy your pen there, because now you're number one with us.
Thank you so much.
And you know, just see we go. You know, and I realize, you know, you represent, you know, Brockton, which is a big area, and he represents a lot of towns, and you can do so much. And I noticed over there at the police when we had the 100th anniversary of that over there, and I got them around as much as I could. And I know, Michelle, you probably didn't know about it. I didn't know about it until I left.
I didn't know about it, but I showed up just on my own accord.
Yeah, I heard you with
knew
that.
It was happening, but I didn't know that there was an event. But you know, I care about police.
Well, you know when I heard about it? When I left the selectmen's meeting, okay? The chief was out in the yard, you don't forget Sunday. I said, what the hell's going on Sunday?
Right.
You know, so don't feel bad. So it wasn't done on purpose.
No, I didn't
I mean,
think so.
you know?
I didn't think so.
But like I said, I just want, and David, do you have anything else that,
I do not.
Well, the senator can, you know, speak for himself and do it wonderfully, as I've always heard him do. But I can say that for the last 3 years, local aid and school funding in West Bridgewater has gone up. I'm not saying it's gone up enough, and there are a lot of education reform formula ideas that if we can get mandated to give better reimbursements around special education, around health insurance for school employees. They're being underfunded right now. And tomorrow we're taking up a supplemental budget to add some money to the special ed circuit breaker fund that's negative right now. I think your school's, one different school superintendent wrote me a letter saying it was like $21 million negative across the state where they're getting underfunded. And we're going to be taking up a bond supplemental budget tomorrow to kind of look at that, so that's gonna be a little bit more money. But you're totally right, the formula is terrible for Brockton, and it's not good for West Bridgewater or East Bridgewater with relationship to getting funding for special education, transportation, and the cost for healthcare, and benefits for employees. So that is an area that I'm working on, and the whole legislature is. And there's that ballot initiative to have a millionaire's tax and assess the money that is gained from that to education and transportation. So if that goes through, if it's allowed on the ballot and that goes through, there'll be more revenue there as well. But it is a real problem.
Okay.
Happy to jump in. Thank you, Selectman Herrera, and let me say thank you very much for the pin for the service. As far as Chapter 70 goes, which obviously is a burning issue for every single community, because public schools, quite literally the most important institution we have in each and every city and town across America, not just here in Massachusetts. In my time in the House of Representatives, where I represented Milton and Randolph, and now of course I have the privilege of representing this town and 9 other towns, the Chapter 70 formula, which was put into effect in 1993 with the Education Reform Act, is a formula that I've been opposed to since I was sworn into the House. I've co-sponsored, and I'm sure Rep. Dubois has been involved with various initiatives as well. I know she has. I've co-sponsored bills and amendments to change the formula. To change it, because it's patently unfair. When I was in the House, it was patently unfair to Milton, and it still is, and it's patently unfair to this town. And other towns in Easton, for instance, as well. And of course, Rep. Dubois just told it's unfair to Brockton. I have sponsored amendments to the budget process, which is one vehicle for addressing issues, because we take up the budget every April, no matter what, in the House, late May in the Senate. And I've also co-sponsored and/or filed legislation proposals to change the formula. The problem is you need a 2/3 vote to change it.
Right.
And there are legislators out there whose communities benefit from this. So obviously, they vote no. We do have a simple majority to change it in both branches of the legislature, but we don't have the 2/3. We don't have the 2/3. So I've been unsuccessful numerous times in my career in the House of Reps, before I had the great privilege of representing this town, of trying to change it. And I've come up short in conjunction with other colleagues.
I filed a bill to do something similar, and it got sent to study. It was difficult to get.
Well, it makes us feel bad. We seem to be the lowest Chapter 70 funds
On the
out
Route
of all the towns around there.
24 corridor.
Yeah, this is
have
what kind
the
of bothers
lowest
us. I know.
per
I mean,
people.
why are we the lowest? I mean, somewhere along the line, and maybe they can look over that. I mean, I know it's hard to, when somebody benefits from something, you know?
Well, again, I've tried to change it numerous times
Right.
in my career. I'm
Right.
going to continue to try to change it.
Right.
Rep. Dubois has as well.
Yeah, okay.
But when the votes aren't there, the votes aren't there.
Hmm.
We will continue to try to persuade our colleagues.
Hmm.
But obviously, people have been trying to do this now for 25 years
Yeah.
and have
Okay.
been unsuccessul. And I'm more than happy to go down with the ship and give it my best effort. I've gone down with plenty of other ships in my career. So I'll
Well,
just-
we thank you for your effort. I mean,
No, I
if it's
tried
a
to-
possibility it could be done, it'll be done, you
I
know?
pride myself on resilience, and
Okay.
I will never give up, but I'm just trying to give the reality. I would never lead anybody to believe that we're gonna flip a switch and we're gonna fix this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because, quite simply, the votes aren't there for the 2/3.
I know we got a whole agenda there, but I got one other thing I want to bring up, and I discussed that with David today when we were going over the agenda, is one of the candidates mentioned why has Avon $7 million in their stabilization and West Bridgewater only has $2.5 million. And he said, I already got the answers. And I was going to, call the moderator, who's my president of the Old Colony Planning Council, and get the answers. And he says, well, we're not taxing for the 2.5. We're about 1.5%. They have the highest rate of businesses of probably any of the towns in the area here, you know? All right, one other thing, I'm just going to tell you, and I'll shut up. Recreation marijuana. On the Old Colony Planning Council, we have the commissioner. It's going to be our guest speaker. David's already logged in. He said, I want to be at that meeting. So any information we can get, we're going to get it, okay? And how this, and we know it's going to be before the voters to give us the thing, you know? And I guess one other thing, I understand your father, Chris, had a problem today there, your fall. How's he doing? Well, I hope the best for him.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else? Or anybody else wants to, I don't want to take the meeting away from Jerry. You know?
I have a question regarding that form. formula for
Yeah.
Chapter 70 funds.
Yeah.
Is it a matter of the formula is outdated, or is it a matter of the formula is erroneous with regards to West Bridgewater? I understand, I think it uses a calculate, and this is what I've been told, considers median income, population, etc.
Well, I don't know if it
Since people have looked into the formula,
Mhm.
assuming, what happened? Did we outgrow the formula?
So opinions differ. Some people on this. Some people think that it's true that the reimbursement rate that every community gets for health insurance, cost to educate special education students, reimbursement for teaching low-income students in English as a second language doesn't really get to what the community bears as a cost. So that's one area that would need some fixing. But I know that there are people that think there are a lot of areas that need addressing in our formula. One being, if the formula does change, a lot of times the communities that are negatively affected by the formula change are held harmless, which means they still get the funding moving forward, so they don't have any less the next year. So that takes away from the total that can be spread out across all the communities. So that's my answer.
It was done, again, back in 1993, and of course, that was before my time in the legislature. I was back in school, and I know Rep. Dubois as well. I was a little bit older.
I wasn't born yet.
I hate to have had, I wish I could say the same. It was done by, at the time, Senator Tom Birmingham was the chairman of Senate Ways and Means, and prior to that, he was chairman of the Senate Education Committee. Senator Birmingham later became the Senate President. He was from Chelsea. So he geared it towards cities. He did. And so, in Senator Birmingham's eyes, it wasn't erroneous. It wasn't erroneous. And, obviously, urban legislators, legislators from the city of Boston, it worked out quite nicely. It did. So I think, well, obviously, from my perspective, and I represent 10 suburban towns, and to me, it is inequitable. And obviously, the inequities continue, and it's our job to try our best to rectify them, and we have tried to. But again, the votes, we've been on the losing side.
We're going to move back to the agenda, because this really isn't an open forum on reimbursement or assessments. So I apologize for all the questions off the cuff and all, but
We'll come back, right?
we do have
We'll come back.
I know you both
Give you
have
a
open
budget
office
update,
hours,
or-
and
yeah, we're happy to do that.
Happy to come back, and we're always.
I'd be happy to put you on the agenda for a few hours if you'd like to come in and talk at a future meeting.
That would be great.
If you can guarantee me another West Bridgewater pin, I'll be there for.
You only get one.
Hoping for two.
We're here for you, Selectman.
We'll get to those in a
Okay.
little bit. We have a few things to go through.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll go through real quick. Thank you. Okay, budget hearings, Southeastern Regional. Come on up, Colleen. It's gonna take us a while to walk back to where we're supposed to be. I know, way off.
I know, that was, thank you, anyhow.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you, guys.
First of all, I want to congratulate Southeastern Regional on your anniversary.
Thank you.
Big milestone for you all, and I
year.
was in the school a couple times last month, and I see the entire school celebrating.
We are.
And, great legacy and a great history. With that being said, you've also come leaps and bounds in academics. Years ago, if you weren't going to go to college, you went to Southeastern Regional, and that's no longer
said
true.
that?
Years ago, before your time. And the school has done unbelievable academically over the last 8 to 10 years, and you all should be commended. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you for your
Perfect, thank
budget.
you. Do you have a
presentation.
copy of the budget first? I guess let me start with that.
We do
I'm
not,
sure.
we did not receive
Okay,
those.
great, so I'll just hand it over.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What we're asking for is any major increases and
Yeah, I won't take
reason
long.
for the
I
changes.
I got the cue. So, I'll start right on the first. So first of all, Mark Morris, School Business Manager, Southeastern Regional, so thank you for having us, and Colleen Maloney, our representative from the town of West Bridgewater. So quickly, on our first page, you'll see that our foundation budget is at $25,294,231, and that's made up of state aid and local assessments, and the state aid being $16,029,743, and the local assessments being $9,264,488. In the center there, you'll see the regional transportation.
Before you get off that page,
Oh,
now I
yes.
see you got Chapter 70 funds. Do you have any problem with, how do you stand in that?
How do we stand compared to?
Well, the municipalities like the towns.
So,
You feel you're getting a fair shake, or?
Well, I can go a few pages further if you like quickly, but I can get there. Out of the 9 communities we serve,
Yeah.
West Bridgewater is probably right in the middle with Chapter 70 at the Southeastern Regional.
So
So there are 4 towns in the city that are less than you, and there are 4 that are higher than you.
Okay, all right, okay. Thank you. Instead of getting into the detail, go ahead, I don't want
That's
to.
fine. No problem. So right in the middle of the first page, you'll see the regional transportation section. So tonight might be a good night while your senators and reps are here. Regional transportation is to be funded at 100%, and if that was to happen, you'd see that the local assessment piece would be 0. But there is a caveat in the law.
Deborah?
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
Are you still having your own buses, or you do?
We own our own buses, correct, yes.
You're still owning, because there was a rumor around, it got back to me, that you weren't doing that anymore, that you were,
We have some routes that are outsourced, but we do own still 26 buses.
oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Sandy buys into them.
So that being said, again, so if that is to be at 100%, the local assessment would be at 0, and the state would fund the full amount. Roughly, it's 76%, 72% reimbursement rate, as we know it as right now. Again, that reimbursement rate looks like it's going to be roughly the same again this year, but the pot that are sharing in the regional transportation pool is getting bigger with charter schools and other educational sources as well in regional transportation. So even though the amount is the same percentage-wise, the actual amount we get a little bit less compared to the prior year. That being said, our overall FY19 budget is $27,224,832. And if you turn to the next page, you'll see that West Bridgewater's enrollment has actually decreased from FY18. So we're at 47 students for FY19, so that's down 4 students. And the total enrollment overall to Southeastern from West Bridgewater is 3.1%. On the next page, you'll see some comparative information from FY12 through FY19. And you'll also see highlighted in yellow towards the bottom right corner that the FY19 budget is up 3%. And again, stop me if you have any questions along the way. I just don't want to take up any time that I don't have to. So obviously, the main question is, what is the assessment to the town of West Bridgewater for FY19? So you can see that the FY19 assessment is $555,428. And that is down $22,744 from FY18.
While we're on formulas, briefly, can you
Yes.
explain how the Southeastern one works?
Which formula is that?
As far as how it's split up between towns?
How we've come up, so basically it's based, you'll
What
see
are
that
the
the,
components that go in?
so if you look at that, the top of that page, there's minimum contributions for each town, totaling the $9,264,488. Our Amoresco payment, broken up by town, and again, it's by the enrollment factor, so 3.1% of that would go to the town of
So
West
it's
Bridgewater.
strictly enrollment?
Enrollment, correct. Other than the minimum contribution, correct. So the ESCO payment, the payments for Chapter 40, net transportation, and the capital costs are all through enrollment, 3.1%.
Okay, thank you.
On the next page, so just get back to your question, Mr. Maria. So you can see here that the town of West Bridgewater is receiving $5,647 in Chapter 70 funds towards Southeastern Regional. You see our other communities where they're at, so you'll see that there are 4 others that are lower, and obviously 4 others that are higher. And you can see there, the only control that the school committee has over this population is the very thin blue line at the top. Again, state aid is given to us by the formula. Net school spending is given to us by the formula. And transportation is also by the reimbursement rate. So the school committee has the authority of that very thin line at the top blue to make any changes. And this also shows that the cost to educate a student at Southeastern is $17,465. So it's the same to every community. The only difference is how much you get in state aid versus how much you have to pay in assessments. So it costs the same to educate all the students, because some people say, oh, why does Brockton pay so much less? Or why? Technically, you pay the same amount. It's just how much you get in state aid. that offsets the assessment. The rest of the presentation is really informational purposes only. If you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them or go over any of those pages if you like.
I have no other questions.
I have nothing.
Motion to pass on to the Finance Committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much. Public Works, Mr. Iannatelli.
Good
All right,
evening.
good evening. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hear all of your budgets you're here to present tonight.
Yep.
And what we're asking to do is present to the board specifically any large increases or decreases with an explanation of why and any major changes that have happened in the department.
Okay. So, as you probably aware, there's a new DPW, new Public Works budget. It's 4215, and that's a merger of the original Parks Department, the Highway General Administration, the Highway Maintenance, and the Vehicle Maintenance. So those four budgets have been put into one, which is the now the new Public Works budget. And in that, we have impacts, or we've asked for increases in 4 lines. I wouldn't consider them as major increases, but we're asking for an increase in overtime of $5,000. And that's, again, you're combining the 2 departments, 3 departments, and you're also, we've got some contractual increases on overtime and callbacks. So as you can see, we've already eaten up most of that overtime, so we feel that 5,000 is a fair amount. Those are callbacks at night by the police, or for our own callbacks. If a tree's down or an accident, the police will call. We have no control of that particular overtime, because as a rule, we do not have overtime in the department for covering shifts. The only shift we cover is the transfer station. So,
Just to back up, Chris, well, we've had the police department and fire department here, so we've been able to commend them on a job well done over the numerous storms we've had this year, the
Yes.
unprecedented storms, along with trees down. So I want to take the opportunity to congratulate and thank your department for
You're
doing an
welcome.
outstanding job for the residents.
Thank you.
I know we have a new fire chief, fairly new police chief, new senior director, and you're new in this position. So you all worked unbelievable together.
Yep.
And I think our residents reap the benefits of not only the merger of your department, but department heads that work spectacular together. So
Thank you.
I just want to take that opportunity to thank you and your whole staff.
yep, they did. They worked hard. They really did. And they worked well with the police and
I
fire.
think that goes for me too and the rest of us here, that we appreciate what you've done and how that was run in a very, very difficult year.
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. One other impact, one other increase was a couple thousand, 2,000 on the beacons and traffic signals. That's for repair of our aging infrastructure of traffic signals, as well as when they get whacked, knocked down, and we don't have any way of collecting. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. You can see that has already gone up to almost 5,000. We had 6,000 in there, so we've asked for an increase of 2. Dues and meetings, again, we are trying to up the ante on education for the men, so we've asked for an extra 2,000. Typical conferences, seminars are $100 a piece. We want them to get as much education as we can give them, so we've asked for a couple grand there. And then police details, again, we need them for this road work, for tree work, for pothole work. The chief is very good to help me out on using or needing the details only on certain roads. We obviously can eliminate or not need a detail if it's a dead end or a very, very quiet side street. But the traffic has increased, as you know, even on side streets that we never used to need details on. So we have to protect the men, and so we've asked for a very moderate increase of 4,000 for that. And that's the impact on the Public Works budget. The other existing budgets that will be, aside from the Public Works, is the lighting budget, which is our street lights, okay?
That's, we're missing 2330 first.
2330.
Snow removal?
Yep, the snow and ice, which was set at 91, and of course has gone over. But that would be a separate budget, and which is next one you get after that? Waste disposal?
Then lights, sorry.
Then lights, yep, okay. And the lighting budget, we're actually asked an increase of 10 grand. Our clerical, Sue, does a beautiful job of keeping track of that, and again, those increases are set by energy suppliers, National Grid, and whoever else is involved, and those are for our street lights, so we've asked for 10,000 to cover that. In this existing budget, you'll see that I'm asking for a transfer later.
We're gonna skip to that right as
Yeah.
soon as we finish your
Yeah.
final budget. The final budget is, anyone have any questions on those? Next budget's waste disposal.
Waste disposal.
4330.
Yep. And the only impact on that, the only change we've asked for was an increase of 5,000 for the hazardous waste. And that pretty much is what we're finding on the side of the road. We find canisters, we find paint, we find whatever that people dump because they can't get rid of it. And that has increased, and you can see that we have almost exhausted the 5 grand, the 3,600 that we've got in there, so that's the only impact on that budget. Okay?
Chris, I know we just finished negotiating with our cleric, with our DPW union, but one of the things I'd like to see in the future is one night at the transfer station being opened evening hours as a convenience. I know that's a long-term goal for you. Something to think about in the future is having the transfer station open one night a week, maybe for residents that can't get there during regular hours.
Okay.
All right, any questions on any of those budgets? We had 4 presented, 4215, 4230, 4240, and 4330.
No questions?
I have none. I'll make a motion, we move them on to the FinCom.
So, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good, thank you.
All righty.
And then,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just.
Oh, yes, moving on, request for transfer. I believe we are expected to or have expended all our lighting funds for streetlights.
Yep.
Which I don't think we've increased that number. In fact, I think we decreased it when we started getting credits for the solar field, so maybe
Yeah.
we decreased it too much, and there's been a lot of added lights. And what's the dollar amount, David?
$8,500 is the
$8,500.
request.
Yep.
This is from the Finance Committee Reserve,
That is correct.
and we've adjusted that line item as just presented.
Okay. Okay.
Seen a motion to approve the request?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, David, I assume you're presenting the next budgets.
I can, and I can go through all of them at once if you would like.
Yes,
Your
please.
choice. So, town moderator's budget is a small budget, has been level funded at $588 year over year. Our insurances budget, we're budgeting about a 7% increase. Unfortunately, we've had quite a few claims this year. It is what it is. Sealer of weights and measures, that budget at a little under $6,000 is being level funded year over year. Historical Commission, which is $1,750, is being level funded year over year. And in the benefits line, which is chiefly our retirement costs, which is set until 2033, and our healthcare costs are the driving factors, that entire budget is up about 7.5%.
David, how often do we go out for bids for the insurances?
I'm actually in the process of negotiating that right now.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions on 1140, 1930, 2440, 6910, and 9100?
I have none. I'll make a motion, we move them on to the FinCom.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. That is the last of our budget hearings for tonight. Eye on the ball, David. This is for mitigation grant for the billboard.
Yep, so we've already signed a mitigation and grant agreement a couple of years ago. They are still in the process of getting their final permitting from Mass DOT. In the meantime, the old company, Eye on the Ball, that we had the agreement with, has now been sold to Clear Channel Outdoor. So all this is just moving the assignment from Eye on the Ball to Clear Channel. It just requires a vote from the Board of Selectmen for acceptance.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Site plan review, 446 Walnut Street.
Yep. Currently, it is a landscaping yard, actually a very small one. They are looking to transition that to a small electrical contractor's yard, in which basically they're going to park vans and trucks associated with electrical work. And so that will be going before the Zoning Board of Appeals. Per the policy, it provides you an opportunity to be able to review and make comments.
Have any concerns on that? Anyone else?
No.
Okay, motion to pass on.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Appoint, all those in, I'm losing it. Thank you. Appointments not sworn in.
Yep. Tracy, you want to handle this?
So we made, over the past year, we made a few appointments, two of which Ms. Santiago Collins and Mr. Harrington. This evening, we would just like to, they have not come in to be sworn in. We've followed up, the town clerk has followed up, so we'd like to give them every opportunity to participate if they so desire. So we'd like to send out a communication to them basically saying you have 14 days to come in and get sworn in,
Okay.
or they'll be treated as vacancies.
Motion to send a letter of 2-week note to be sworn in, or we will consider it a resignation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Yes, Annie.
You have Chris Lenz up there, he came in and got sworn in.
He did.
So he's all set.
Okay, so we're just,
He came in today, yeah. I don't know if he's on that list.
He is on the list, but
Okay.
we'll disregard that.
okay.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Annie. Ratify clerical contract, David?
Yep, so as we discussed in executive session earlier, we have reached an agreement with the clerical contract that would call for a 2.5% increase over 3 years. We would also reduce their current step of 20 years down to 18, but in return, they are going to eliminate supplemental longevity for all people that have less than 19 years, and also lower the longevity for all employees currently below 10 years in new hires. That would be consistent with the town bylaw. So that means that we have successfully negotiated this with all unions, and also for all of our department heads that answer to the Board of Selectmen. So now we have consistency across the board. And again, I just want to say, as I've always said, thank you to the union stewards. It's been really, really good to be able to work with. They understand that we're willing to give raises, but in return, there has to be long-term benefit reductions, and they have worked with us, and we've been able to accomplish that.
Very good. Okay, do I have a motion to sign the contract?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Action request to reclassify assistant town clerk.
Yep, so Assistant Town Clerk Sharon Ledeen was hired almost 3 years ago. To the town clerk's credit, she brought Miss Ledeen in below the grade that Annie had been at, which actually saved the town money over the last handful of years. She wanted to make sure that Mr. Ledeen learned on the job, got the proper training, which she has done. She's been to numerous outside seminars, and as a result, she's earned the right to be able to be reclassified, and so that is a request to the board to reclassify her from head secretary to head administrative secretary, which would take effect July 1, 2018.
Board have any questions? Annie, you're here, do you want to speak at all?
Yeah, sure. Sharon has been a great asset to my office. She has learned very quickly and it can take on any task that I've asked her to do and can substitute in my place in any situation while I'm out of the office. And I'm just thrilled to have her in my office and feel very confident in her. So to me, this is a great move for her.
Great. Sharon, I know we weren't involved in your hiring, but I will tell you, when I do interviews, I always ask our employees what they've done in town or what they're involved with in town other than having the job. And I don't think I could possibly go to a town event and not see you at it. And I see you at everything, and that's something I really love. Not only do you have a great work ethic and work really hard, but you are in our town. You do answer questions outside of the work scope, and I'm happy you're with us. So thank you very much, and thanks for being such a good citizen, in addition to being a great assistant town clerk.
Thank you.
With that being said, I'd ask for a motion to approve the change.
So moved.
Second. I have one question. Annie, am I correct that this was actually approved at town meeting last year, the funds for it?
Yes, the funds were approved last year, but it was never acted on by your board.
Yep.
So
All right.
I'm asking again, yeah.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. At our last meeting, Selectman Marrera asked that we name a street in recognition of the Azak family, with an emphasis on Donnie Azak and his many, many years of service on the water department and his, is he here?
I don't know, he had another event. Don Azak.
I think he would have come in.
I don't know.
didn't see him out there.
Is that another event? Okay.
He's here.
Oh, good.
There we go.
Donnie, come on in. Donnie, you weren't here earlier, but close the door, come on in. Donnie, one of the things I've had the honor of bringing forward as selectmen is that each year we're going to recognize people that get elected to boards and commissions. And something we want to exclusively serve, though it's a very small token of our appreciation for this service, is a West Bridgewater pin. And it has the West Bridgewater Town seal on it, surrounded by maroon, with the words West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, incorporated February 16th, 1822. And going forward, this pin will be presented to each and every member of an elected board. I understand you're not seeking re-election like myself, but I really would like the honor to present you with a pin tonight for your many, many years of elected service as you continue till April 14th. So it gives me great pleasure to be able to present you with this Town of West Bridgewater service pin. That's part one.
Okay.
There's
There's
more. Before you entered, I just recapped at our last meeting, Selectman Marrera asked that we take a step to recognize not only you, but your entire family for many, many years of service. And my kids will say delicious soft-serve ice cream. And we had decided that we were going to name a street or a way in honor of your family's recognition. It was my suggestion that we name the right-of-way or the drive to the water tank as in recognition of your family. We do need that to be an official action by the board, so that's on the agenda for a vote tonight.
Thank you very much.
Selectman Marrera, is your
I'd like to make the motion to that effect.
Okay.
Second.
And just to
Yes.
clarify, that it would be the one off of North Elm Street.
Correct. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
All right, congratulations, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Ronnie, before you go, we will reveal your naming honor here.
Oh, wow. Look at this. I'm embarrassed.
Finally presented in our new town color sign.
Isn't that, that's
Thank you very much.
It's been an honor serving on the board, and I'm gonna miss it, but, you know, it comes to the time in my life to move, I'll move on, let somebody else in there. And I wanna thank the board for always being supportive of the water department. Like I said, the last time we were here, you know, sometimes we had disagreements, but we always had the best interest in our heart for the town. And, you know, the people have been great. They always supported me every 3 years that I ran. They were always out there voting for me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a few more things. Communication reports from boards, commission, committees, and town officials. We don't have any on the agenda. Correspondence from the public to determine a course of action. Being my last meeting, I do have one small recommendation. As a traveler of River Street, with the increased traffic on 106, a lot of people are using the back roads as a convenience, and I think River Street's probably taken on the largest burden, which then also affects Charles Street and Howard Street, whatnot. So I would like the board to look into adding a three-way stop or a four-way stop at River and Charles or River and Howard Street, and in hopes to make that street an inconvenience so the public no longer wants to use it as a cut-through. I was pretty short with somebody on Facebook the other day that says we need a cop on so-and-so street. Everybody wants a cop on their street. It would be great. It can't happen. But if a simple, cheap solution would to make River Street inconvenient for people to use. And adding a rather three-way stop at Charles Street or a four-way stop at Howard, South, and River Street might be a very easy, affordable answer. So that's just something for the board to act on, and when I'm gone, you can deal with it. All right, anything else on the public comment period? Okay, David?
Jerry,
Yes, Neil?
that place you're talking on Walnut Street, two quick things. On the one converted to selling it over to electrical, that's been there for landscaping purposes only. It's a business zone in between residential. And so they want to switch it over. I know you're gonna have public hearings and everything like that, but I'm gonna put a big pushback on that if they switch it over to electrical. The guy's moving out, he's selling it out, and whoever's buying it, the parent electrical company, they're gonna buy it. He's gonna make his money and run. So I'm gonna fight that on that. And on Chapter 70 money, when Tom Birmingham was Senate President, Chelsea went into receivership. They had no money, the state wasn't giving them money, so he started this fund. And he took the money, because Jay Ash took over the city of Chelsea. And so that's why we weren't getting our share. That was another way to fund Chelsea schools.
Okay.
That was the purpose of it.
Thank you. Town Administrator's report, David?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So again, I'll go pretty quick. As you know, we aggregated electricity through town meeting vote a handful of town meetings ago. The new summer rate from National Grid is going to be 10.87, or basically 10 cents, 0.87, which is a little bit below what our aggregated rate is. So for anybody who did not aggregate back in the fall, is that you overspent during the winter, but you will be a little bit below now during the summer. It's actually 2/10 still higher on the blended rate. But if people that are currently on the aggregated plan, if they want to be able to opt out to go onto the National Grid program, we told everybody at the time that we would keep them informed, and so therefore that's what I am doing.
David, when does the summer rate start?
May 1.
May 1st. So they should opt out now if that's what they wish to do.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mass Pregnant Workers Fairness Act went into effect for April 1st. This is just an FYI to the board that we have done our due diligence. We have done what we are required to do by law, and the town is compliant. Before you is also 2 requests to use town facilities. One is from Mr. Holden for the transfer station of April 7th. The other one is for a Crush Cancer Road Race, which will take effect at the end of April. I've already authorized both, again, as a FYI to the board per your policy. I've placed on the agenda a discussion on the dog park because unfortunately we were securing 90% of our funds through a grant program, and we have gone through 3 different iterations of the site, and they still have not passed what they are looking for. So at this point, Ms. Aaronstein, who had been working on this, and as we know, has become a town administrator in a different town, she no longer can devote the time to this, so we are going to have to relook at this program, probably resubmit another plan to the Stanton Foundation, but that'll happen in the summer once we get past our town meeting time. The next 2 is in reference to streetlights, both of which the Board of Selectmen commented on at the last meeting. Andrea Way, that was a streetlight request before you. I believe that you actually tabled the vote pending further information. We found out that the facilities are not underground, they're actually above ground, so all we have to do is install a light. I can place the work order in as early as tomorrow if the board so authorizes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the use of light, the addition of the light on Andrea Way.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is North Elm Street, Stepping Stone Way, that had a light on it. When they went to new poles, they never replaced the light. That work order has already been processed with National Grid. Next on the agenda is reference to East Street, East Center Street. It has taken us too long, but we are where we are now. We are into RFP. The bids are back due on April 13th. We will see as to whether or not what the actual bids come in. It is fortunate that both Rep. Dubois and Senator Timilty are here. I've requested, hoping to get some funds from the state to help us in reference to that, so we'll know what our final costs are on April 13th when we have our bid opening. And last on the agenda is a little bit of a tribute to Selectman Lawrence. So with that said, obviously our congregation is here, and if if State Rep would like to go first,
Love
or
to.
Senator Timmelty, and I believe.
So, Selectman Lawrence, we're very proud of you, both as a person and a public servant in the town of West Bridgewater. And we brought some citations from the State House, and I have the honor of reading the state citation for you. It says, "The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Jerry D. Lawrence in recognition of your exceptional service and dedication to the residents of West Bridgewater. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all your endeavors." And it's dated today, your very last selectman meeting for now, 2018, and it's signed by the Speaker of the House, Robert DeLeo, and myself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
Just so you all know, Anthony bet that I would cry, so I'm trying not to.
Okay. Jerry, I'm gonna come right over here to you. Jerry, I offered this resolution on the state senate, it actually passed today. And it states, and obviously to do a resolution, you have to do a lot of good works. And you've been all about good works for the people of West Bridgewater for a long time.
Thank you.
And it states, Massachusetts State Senate resolutions congratulating Jerry Lawrence on his retirement from the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen. Whereas Jerry Lawrence will complete his term as a selectman for the town of West Bridgewater on April 14, 2018, following a distinguished career in public service. And whereas Jerry Lawrence was first elected to the West Bridgewater School Committee on April 15, 1995, and served until April 2001. Finally, a date I can say I was still in school. Whereas Jerry Lawrence was appointed to the West Bridgewater Board of Health in November 2002 and subsequently was elected to that board on April 19, 2003, and served until July 1st, 2006. And whereas Jerry Lawrence was elected to the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen on April 8th, 2006, and will serve until April 14th, 2018. And whereas in 1991, Jerry Lawrence organized the town of West Bridgewater's annual Park Day, held annually at the War Memorial Park to commemorate the beginning of the autumn season. And whereas Jerry Lawrence was instrumental in both securing funding for the town dog park and the preservation of the River Bend Golf Course. And whereas Jerry Lawrence is an active member of the West Bridgewater Lions Association, serving as president since 2014, and whereas Jerry Lawrence has dedicated his life to serving the citizens of the town of West Bridgewater. Now therefore be it resolved that the Massachusetts State Senate hereby congratulates Jerry Lawrence on the occasion of his retirement from the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen and further extends to him its sincere best wishes for his continued success, and be it further resolved that a copy of these resolutions be transmitted forthwith by the clerk of the Senate to Jerry Lawrence. And it has been signed by our Senate President, Harriet L. Chandler, Jerry, attested to by our Senate Clerk, Bill Welch, and offered by myself, Walter Timmelty, and my thanks to Dave Gagney for all these wonderful facts and figures about your great career. Thank you very much. Jerry, you can always make a comeback down the road. You can always make a comeback.
Thank you.
So, but it's an honor to be here on your last meeting.
Thank you both.
As Rep. Dubois said, for now. And we know it's not a retirement. You're just going to be doing different things, but you'll always be here for the people of West Bridgewater.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We're not done yet, Jerry.
Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, wrote this for you. Jerry Lawrence, on behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation in recognition of your many years of dedicated service to the town of West Bridgewater, this 4th day of April, 2018. Signed, Charlie Baker and Karen Polito. And guess I won that bet.
I'll buy the beer.
Most importantly, from Selectman Marrera and I, on this 4th day of April 2018, the Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Jerry D. Lawrence in recognition of your years of dedicated service to the town of West Bridgewater as you conclude your 4th term as a member of the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. you, everybody.
Sherry, not yet.
Oh.
Maybe a couple of things. This is actually from Mallory.
Says world's best select.
Oh.
You don't know, when Mallory left us, I gave her 2 T-shirts, and one said Dighton. It's not West Bridgewater, but it's not bad. And I think the other one said Dighton, the second best little town on the South Shore. So thank you, Mallory. I wish you were here.
And this here is because we heard you were short on shirts.
Aw, thank you. Warrants. Thank you, everyone.
I can, yeah. Thank you.
Aw, hi, guys. This is for my second election, I believe. My kid's there.
Look at how little I am.
Yeah, you weren't born at the first one. You were the first one, you just weren't mine yet.
This here is because this is something that you highly prefer during most meetings and all public events.
Obviously, it's not gum. It is gum. Thank you, everybody. It's been an incredible ride, and I'm very happy Nancy Maloney's here. Nancy, I said it in my little resignation letter. There's nobody I've been more happy to serve with than you. And we didn't always agree, but we were what a board was supposed to be. I served on the school committee with Nancy for a number of years, and then as selectman. And I tell you, you will always be in my heart as one of the best role models. I also had Nancy's mom as a school teacher. She had taken over for a teacher that retired in her first year of teaching. But we had a great road together. And I think our time together on the board, Nancy, we really started steering the ship in the right direction with accountability. And we brought on a spectacular new town administrator, David. It's been wonderful serving with everybody. And I don't think my service is done. I continue on with the Lions Club, and tonight I got on the library trustees. But if it weren't for these two, I couldn't do everything I do because they're by my side for everything. So thanks, guys.
So, Mr. Chairman, just so you're aware, if people are able to come in, we actually have a little presentation to make.
Okay.
And so if you want to come in, so that way you can see, and we'll actually turn off the lights.
Well, I have one final moment. I just want to say this town truly has some of the most spectacular department heads. It's been such an honor to work with you all. Thank you, bud. And I couldn't be more proud of the way the town and the condition the town's in now, and it wouldn't be possible. We truly have some of the most dedicated, hardworking department heads, and the town wouldn't be what it is without all you, so thank you.
So we had to convert this over to an Apple product, so as you can see, it's not perfect, but here we go. So this is a tribute to Mr. Lawrence. So it's hard to believe that one day this guy would become a Board of Selectmen. Pretty humble beginnings, as it says. He was elected to the school committee in 1995. There you are. He decided to go on the Board of Health because he said that we had to make sure that we had the proper chefs in town. And then also, as you saw earlier, was also then elected to the Board of Selectmen in 2006. All is kind of surprising when you consider who would actually vote for this person.
In case they didn't know back then.
Or vote for this person. Or vote for that person. But they all did. From day one, you've always rooted for West Bridgewater. There he is, the only male cheerleader for the town of West Bridgewater. And he also danced for West Bridgewater as well. There he is in the back. Looking pretty limber back then. And he created events for, like Park Day, which again, 26 years and strong, but 27 years, 600 to 700 people come every year. I think it's fantastic. You always one of the better dressed selectmen, as you can see. And as selectman, you had many accomplishments. For example, you appointed a new fire chief. And I know that one of your biggest regrets was that you never fixed the traffic problem on Route 106. However, had you just secured funding for a high-speed train, you would have been the perfect conductor. That's beautiful. Oops. So what's next? You're going to have a whole bunch of free time? So what are you going to do now, Jerry? Well, we have a couple of thoughts. One is you can become a golf pro. Or you can tour as a clown. That's Jerry on the left, in case anybody was wondering.
Right.
That's right.
Could always go into a movie and be a cowboy. Or try your luck as a leprechaun. Or, of course, just be Santa's little helper. All are available. Of course, this is West Bridgewater, so there's always plenty of rumors. Not all of them are true, obviously, but we've heard that you're considering running for President of the United States. We've also heard that you have come down to, actually, it says 2 final candidates, but we think that there might be 3. So will the ticket be Lawrence and Polito? Or maybe Lawrence and Markey. Or maybe even Lawrence Warren. Whatever you do, we know you'll do it in style. Sorry, it's an inside joke. Nobody else will get it, but Jerry gets it. And you'll obviously always continue to help West Bridgewater. Continue to play with Angry Bird pinatas, as you can, or you're apt to do. But in the meantime, just relax, Jerry. And at the end, we all know that you're going to be back because, and how do we all know this? Because when you look that good, how do you stay away?
Thank you, everyone. So many great people here tonight. With that being said, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Good night. Thanks for tuning in. And good night, Adam.
What happened to the hair?
Thank you.